Good morning, everybody. We were supposed to start at 9, but the hearing got pushed to 11. We are still on standby, although I'm watching it very carefully to make sure as soon as it goes live, we will go live. I'll show you what's going on right now. This is what's going on right now in the courtroom. So it's pretty much empty. Pretty much empty. When I say pretty much, I mean entirely empty. There's like not a soul in the courtroom. So as we're waiting, we'll just keep it here. People are starting to fill in, looks like. And as soon as something actually happens, we'll do it. But this is a very important hearing. We've been waiting for Brian Walsh's case to start already. The trial was supposed to begin in October, and then we got that sudden notice that he had to undergo some competency testing. He was in the hospital apparently, and still a lot of stuff going on with the case in terms of Proctor, in terms of getting some of the text messages or anything else that may be exculpatory in his case. And we'll see. I mean, this would be very interesting. We'd like to see a trial begin in this already. We've been all waiting for the trial. It would be nice if it starts next week, but we don't know really what's been going on. So I think this is going to be very interesting to see what happens in this hearing. And again, this is what we see from the courtroom right now. Not much going on. Hopefully it'll start soon. It's supposed to start around 11, but you know, things can change, and we'll see. But anyway, that's what we see in the courtroom. Not much going on. But anyway, as soon as it goes live, we'll go live. As soon as they actually have the call the case and the attorneys show up, we'll do that. So it's supposed to start at 9, but now it's supposed to be starting at 11. Thank you, Debbie, for becoming a YouTube member, Brother Counsel sidebar member. Not Michelle. Good morning from Puyallup, Washington. No. Puyallup. Please help me with the pronunciation of that city. Washington. Thanks for being here. Not Michelle. Jessica Lee. It's good to see you back here. We haven't had a trial to stream in a little while. Happy Friday to Jody Arrington. Avon Bird Lady. Morning BC in chat. I guess if you guys have any questions, you can kind of put in the chat now before we get started. But in the meantime, we'll just say good morning to some people. BJ Never Settle. Good morning, BC and company. Steve Regal, 8592. Good morning, everyone. I'm Rexy and I know it. Hi, y'all from Oklahoma. Robin loves Mike forever. All right, Mike. You're a lucky man because Robin's going to love you forever. Listening from North Carolina. My Wicked Tribe. Hi, good morning from Portland. The Trial Channel, the one and only Trial Channel, who also very graciously agreed to be a moderator for me. So good morning, Martin, and good morning to you. Thank you so much for your help and assistance with everything that it takes to be a moderator, as well as some other help that you give me on the side. And of course, using your channel. Anyone who is not a subscriber to the Trial Channel, definitely become a subscriber. Soon the Trial Channel is going to surpass Brother Counsel, no question about it. Mag in Florida, good morning, BC. Laura Perez, good morning from Mexico. Thank you very much. So this is how you pronounce that city, Puyallup. Puyallup. Always learn something on this channel. Melinda Duncan. Good morning from South Carolina. So we have North Carolina here and South Carolina here. Lady Blue NC from the east coast of North Carolina. Good morning. The Nana Boss Audits. Love your channel and perspective. Thank you for all you do. Well, I'm glad you appreciate it. That's why I do it. I do it for you. That's why we're here. We're here for the people. Mountain Girl, hello from Colorado. Dog Mom, 54, hello from Virginia. BJ says, nice to see some more mods helping out. Yes, appreciate that. Mag in Florida saying Stating the obvious, Trial Channel is great. It is such a great resource, such great work that the Trial Channel is doing. I'm very happy that the Trial Channel agreed to become the moderator here, or at least when she can. Jennifer and Tally, good morning from Tallahassee. Anybody remember the Adelson case from Tallahassee? Just to let you see what's going on in the courtroom. This is what's going on in the courtroom. Still filling up a little bit. Still waiting. Still say a few good mornings until we get started. Tabby 8426, good morning from Northern Ireland. The weather is beautiful today too. It is in Michigan as well. Sun's out, sun shining. Starbit from Colorado. Hugs from Utah. Thank you. Appreciate that. Lots of Southern folk here. Georgia here. South Florida here. Okay, at least we're going a little bit north. We got Rhode Island. Vanessa. Arizona, Ashley. Good morning from Arizona. Thanks so much for doing the Casey Anthony trial. So as you know, we did not have a trial to stream in a long time. So what we did was we streamed the Casey Anthony trial. And it was great to see it from a fresh perspective. It happened in 2011, and we can definitely see why the jury may have come out to acquit her. Sarah Stiles is my name. At the Trial Channel, thanks for modding for BC. We appreciate your channel as well. Yeah, everybody appreciates the Trial Channel. Good afternoon from Newfoundland, Rin. Afternoon from dull, wet London, says Phoebe. And Avalator says, those of us from Massachusetts appreciate all of you. Thank you. I know if my focus has been a lot on Massachusetts from the Karen Reed case. And then now Brian Walsh, Kelsey Fitzsimmons. Got to keep your eye in Massachusetts, that's for sure. So that's what we're doing. I'm Rexy and I know it. I'm from Oklahoma, but currently living in the Twin Cities. Simi Sharp, good morning to you, Brother Counsel. Says hi to Brother Counsel Trial Channel. Melinda says I lived in Augusta, now Rock Hill. Kara T, hi from Chicago. We will see if this is a trial that we're going to be streaming next week. I definitely plan on streaming it. So if we do have a trial date next week, we may start the Brian Walsh trial, which I think is supposed to go about a month. Hi from Southern Louisiana, Simi. Charlotte, North Carolina here. And Atlanta in the house. Weirdo Swarm poking out from Overcast to say good morning from Portland, Oregon. Brooklyn wants to know, is he going to be in the courtroom or is he going to be via Zoom? Find out shortly. Atlanta here is sunny all day. Boston, you're my home. Thanks for shining a light on Massachusetts corruption. Gwen says this could get interesting with the proctor and all of it. That's true. Any case the proctor had his hands on. Lauren says, unfortunately, I live in the cesspool of corruption. And look at that. BJ never said, oh, I had not heard of the Trial Channel until now. Subbed and ready to start reviewing material there. Great idea. Jessica Lee, who's from Georgia, says we are having some really beautiful weather here. Happy for you. So here we are, still waiting for this trial, for this hearing to begin. It is 11 o'clock now. So Ag in Florida says, BC wondering if you'll be covering Aaron Spencer trial in Arkansas. Aaron unlined his daughter's pedo, and is running for sheriff. The trial is in December, I believe. Anyone know? Yes, I very much would like to cover Aaron Spencer. Absolutely, I want to cover that trial. So yes, I hope to. I love the trial channel, says Melinda. Yeah, Aaron Spencer is a very interesting case. Very interesting case. He murdered some person who was basically messing around with his daughter, and now he's being charged. So yeah, that's definitely an interesting case that we have to cover. Happy to be Friday. Thank God it's Friday. That's true. It was a long week this week. And also, by the way, you guys should start keeping your eyes on Fraser Bohm. I just did my first video on Fraser Bohm yesterday because there was a very big hearing. Alan Jackson is representing Fraser Bohm. No, I gave her my call. So that will definitely add some flair to that. But it's a very interesting case because they're charging him with murder, not just manslaughter, not just vehicular manslaughter. So that's going to be an interesting case. Also, we just had a hearing on that, and we broke down part of the hearing. Still a lot more to unpack during that hearing, but if you want to get a good foundation to understand what's going on with Fraser Bohm, then you can check out the last video I just posted yesterday. Jessica Lee says, I'm so curious about Fraser's case. And actually, I believe you spell his name with just an E, Fraser. I think that's apparently how you spell it. But yeah, it does. I also thought to spell it that way, but then I did a double check, and it looked like he spells it the other way. But yeah, it's an interesting case, I think, that we should follow, and I plan on following it. Oh, maybe it's not. Okay, trial channel says Fraser Bohm. Maybe that's how you spell it. I thought it was without the I. Oh, no, trial channel says no, it is without the I. Okay, so I think I'm right there. Simi says, long week is right. Phew, mine's not quite over yet. Kind of busy this morning, but had to take my say hi to BC and chat break. 100% agree, Simi. That's very important that you do that. I'm glad you put your work on pause to say hello. And we appreciate it. Linda Mitchell says there's going to be so much material in Proctor's phone. Cases will be going on for years. Yeah, I mean, there's I think they referenced hundreds of thousands text messages or something like that. So all the different cases that he was working, dropped his appeal to get his job back. Most likely because they found some more stuff in there. But also, we have to see when the next date for Kelsey Fitzsimmons is, because that's a very important case, and she deserves to get out of prison or jail. So we're still waiting for the courtroom to fill up here. All right. I'll be right back in a minute. Mag in Florida says free Kelsey, referring to Kelsey Fitzsimmons. If you're not aware of that case, you should definitely look into that case. We did a number of videos on it, and it's really tragic what's happening with her. Can't believe what the judge did to Kelsey. I mean, I can, but wow. Very hard to believe. BB Mag is with us. Good morning. No class today? Llama Pajama says, hi, all. I've never commented in your lives before, but have watched all the Casey Anthony streams. I knew nothing of the case when it happened. Well, that's why I guess it's good to replay some of the old trials that keep coming up. So glad that we did that. Quita G says, hi, hey, BC. Hello to you. Great question from Megan Florida. At the trial channel, is Aaron Spencer being televised? I sure hope so. Linda says, I'm glad BC is streaming the name that shall not be named. Interesting. The name that shall not be named. Jessica Lee says, I really dislike Casey Anthony, so I couldn't watch. A lot of people, I mean, a number of people didn't want to watch the Casey Anthony trial because they're disgusted or they don't like her that much. And I mean, look, what's interesting about that trial is that Jose Baez was basically saying, yeah, she's kind of messed up. She's a pathological liar. You know, he blamed it on abuse, but that's definitely something that you walk away with in that trial, that she cannot be believed. And she has trouble with truth telling. Good morning, all, says Isus Delsky. Rebecca Rochelle, who was with us basically every day of the Casey Anthony trial. She said the Casey Anthony trial was eye-opening. And I think it was. I think that was a nice exercise that we did, because a lot of people were not aware really what happened in the actual trial. They were relying on media reports. Oh, so Melinda was saying CA, meaning Casey Anthony. We don't like to say her name. Just you should know, Jessica says, I like streaming with your channel, but she's just ... Okay, understand. That's fine. As long as you'll join us for the Brian Walshe trial and any other trial that we're going to be streaming, that's all right. Babelo says, free the sidebars. And of course, you're referring to Corey Hopkins' complaint that she had to file because of the public records law. We'll see what happens with that. That's a very interesting issue as well. We did a video on that a couple days ago. Corey Hopkins and all the work that she's done to free the sidebars. Arizona Ashley says, I was 12, 13 during the Casey Anthony trial, so I feel like I have a much clearer perception now, having watched it on your channel. I agree. That's why we did it. 2011 was a long time ago. A lot of people were a lot younger then. So that's why we did it. It brought a lot of new perspective. And people's minds may have been changed. Mama Pajama says, I'm waiting to say hi to Poetic. I loved reading all of his puns. Yeah, Poetic's pretty good with the puns. Pretty sharp tool in the shed. Rita G says, I graduated law school in 2011. Yikes, I'm old. LOL. I love that we have some lawyers that also tune into our channel. Special compliment that I feel. We have lawyers who are watching with us as well. Not that anyone else here is not important. Of course, everybody is. And we appreciate all of you. No more pandas. Sends a heart there. Was Jose Baez a public defender? I don't know. I think he may have been. I'm not sure. Now, of course, he's defending the Shayna Gardner in her case, which I don't think has a trial date till like 2026 sometime. But after watching Casey Anthony and after watching his performance there, and I thought he did an amazing job. I thought he was really, really effective, really good. I definitely want to see him in action again. So if Shayna Gardner goes to trial and he's going to be representing her, I would definitely going to be very interested in streaming that and watching that and breaking it down and analyzing everything that he's doing. Linda asks, I'll still watch because all trials are so different. Did you ever cover the Letitia Stouch case? She reminded me of Casey Anthony. No, I did not. I did not cover that. Is Zaduski, what's the next trial you'll deep dive? I think Brian Walsh is the one that we hope to stream next, and that we're going to be doing hopefully our daily breakdowns, our daily recaps, in case you're not able to catch the stream with us the entire time. That's what I hope. Court 292. Hi, Martin. Hello to you, Court 292, whoever you are. Mag in Florida says Jose was unbelievable. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. He was really phenomenal in that trial of Casey Anthony, whether she deserved it or not. But he was an amazing trial lawyer, as we just saw. And I think he was only like 6 years out of law school. So relatively young. And you see the type of lawyer that he was, the type of, persuasive and well-spoken and presence, all that good stuff that all trial lawyers want to have. He's got it. And that was only 6 years out. So he's probably only perfected his craft even more. Linda says the 80s and 90s were fun, though. The younger generation doesn't know what they missed. And I was kind of young in the 80s and 90s. So I remember the 90s, not the 80s so much. Sherry Schreiber says, I must be ancient, graduating high school in 75. Simi Sharp says, you two messing up our handles again. Yeah, I don't know what to do about that. I always get one of these. I always get it. Everybody loves Solomon. I miss your conversations with your brother. So do I. He's a busy guy. I'd love to talk to him. We actually went out to lunch this week. So we're going to have more conversations with him. Everybody wants him. He's a fan favorite. So we'll definitely have to bring him back. He's just very busy. And he actually wants to get me busier also, and that would take away my attention from the channel. I know you guys don't want that, so trying to turn down all of his attempts of getting me to do some more work on his files. But yeah, he's awesome. We'll have to get him back. Sarah Trevis, fellow Michigander, is here. Hey, friends. MJ, hello, Trial Daddy. Okay, I've not been called Trial Daddy yet, so maybe that will be the next one. Trial Daddy, I don't mind that. Although I haven't been in trial in a little while. Most of my cases I've been getting set for trial have been settling. I had a few trials coming up, and they all just settled kind of last minute, so can't force a trial if it's not beneficial for the client. And if the client's happy taking the settlement, then that's what we do. Hi from Ireland, BC, says Ramona the Truth Pest. The Truth Pest. Simi says also, I agree. I love when Martin has Solomon on. It's unfortunate the Delphi trial was done in such secrecy. I would have loved to hear your take on it. I hear that there is a lot that we did not see and hear about, and in the Delphi trial. And that would have been something that I would have loved to see. You're absolutely right. And I think that there's some things that perhaps went on during that trial or some rulings that were really unfair. But I'm just hearing like bits and pieces about it. And, I haven't not able to see anything like you said. And it just makes you question what happened there. I know Andrea Burkhardt, I believe she was in the courtroom and she was reporting on it. And it seems like she's very unhappy with what happened there. I did cover a little bit because I did cover the part where the judge tried to throw her attorneys off the case. And then they took that up to the Supreme Court and reversed that. So that may have been a little indication how the trial went. Do you think the FBI is waiting until all the trials are over before they use Proctor, Text, and Karen retrial for personal involved? Not exactly sure what the question is. The FBI waiting to do what with his text messages? Just be a little bit clear on the question. Oh, there's Tipton. Jessica Lee says, I watched Alan Jackson in the Boehm hearing. He's excellent, but I don't think he's going to be able to get this kid off. The question really is, I think Alan Jackson's fighting for at this point, is that I don't think he's going for a not guilty. I think what he's going for is an involuntary, a manslaughter charge as opposed to the second degree. So I believe that what we may hear in the trial is they overcharged him and you should not come back with second degree murder. You should come back with manslaughter. But we'll see. There's still a lot more discovery to do in that case. Rita G says, yes, we love Solomon. Yeah, I know. I know you guys all love Solomon. Somebody else says, if you missed the stream when he had his father counsel on, I had my father on one stream also. Totally need to go replay it because that was awesome. We spoke about Karen Reed's civil case because my dad's been in civil litigation for over 50 years. Well, finally, I got someone to stick up for me. We like you better, BC. No, you can say the truth. Everybody likes Solomon. That's all right. He's my brother. I love him too. Well, Mama Pajama says, I don't like the daddy nicknames. They creep me out. Snark Daddy, Trial Daddy. Can't make everybody happy. Says, hola. Hi, I'm listening from Ireland too. LLH says, wouldn't you have to be nuts to slaughter a human being and hide the pieces around town? Yeah, pretty much. Coffee says, I just want a fair and balanced reporting. Some other streams have so much conspiracy theories and victim blaming in this case that it really bothers me. Okay, well, you came to the right place then, Coffee. Because here what we do is objective analysis. We call balls and strikes here. Yeah, don't forget my mom. My mom joined this show also. I actually have a sister who's may join the show also at some point, just to say hi on one of these Sunday shows. Sister Counsel. She's not a lawyer, but we've been talking about that. Maybe her joining the show for a little bit to say hi. Arizona Ash says, "Oh my God, I loved your father. Bring it back too." All right. Request for the dad. Father Counsel. Ripper YouTube official. I knew of your brother before you. Meeting Solomon. Watching his deposition videos in the pink camera lawsuit shows what Solomon is. All right, looks like we're about to get started, so I'm going to take a back seat. Mr. Walshe is represented by Attorney Larry Commonwealth by ADA Grace Connor, ADA Tracy Cusick, and ADA Ann Harris. Also starting with the Commonwealth. Can you identify yourselves in court and the ring?
Good morning, Your Honor. Greg Connor for the Commonwealth, and with me is the trial team, Assistant District Attorneys Tracy Cusick and Ann Harris.
Good morning to the Commonwealth.
There's nothing I can do about the audio. They got to just fix it there. Come on.
And good morning to defense counsel. Yeah, Mr. Gordon.
I can't the sound, guys. I'm sorry. I'm telling you, the volume is as loud as it can go from my perspective. I mean, on my streaming or whatever. Yeah, I'll make myself quieter. I'm going to make myself quieter so you can. You guys can raise your volume. There he is. Just please talk into the microphone so we can hear what's going on. Well, this is a great comment. I love BC YouTube channel. I prefer to watch trial from professional attorneys. My own personal opinion. Well, that's a great opinion to hold. I agree with you. Mrs. Lace-Knitter, everyone deserves a defense and a fair trial. Waheen, thank you, Brother Counsel, for the stream. I always pick your coverage first. Appreciate that. What can I say? I'm touched.
All right. So welcome, as I said, to counsel, and welcome to Mr. Walsh. I have a few things on my agenda. The first one, which is our here, is the competency. I've now received a report from Bridgewater State Hospital, comprehensive report from Dr. Ryan. And in that report, Dr. Ryan concludes that the defendant is competent and ready to stand trial. And with that finding, which I accept, had a brief conversation with the side of the bench. What's the defense's position? I just want it on the record, on the public record, with regard to the defendant's competency.
Two things. One, we're not contesting competency. Two, we had conferences with other firms. We had one last month. What he asked us to do is he is concerned that changing the environment of the jail, they have to understand. He wants us, by this, asked us to go on court. He said that's not his lane. But we do. We want to let the court know that we have those concerns. And we'll bring you to the court's attention. It might be fully involved. We're also going to
any case, and any time, in my experience, the defendant goes to Bridgewater and then is returned to the facility, there's always a transition period. He's been there for 40 days now and has gotten, as I understand, into a routine. And that routine is going to be changed as he moves back to the House of Correction. So understandably, there will be some transition period, and you and alerting the facility knows this, they deal with this quite regularly. But I understand your intent to alert me to it, and we'll have some time here, I believe, between the time that we're picking a jury in this case and the time. I'm not suggesting that you're not working at that time, but the defendant's role in that is significantly different than it is when we're actually actively engaged in the trial. So hopefully that'll give them a nice time to settle back into the House of Correction. But obviously, if at any point you become concerned about that, I know you won't hesitate to raise it with me.
Thank you, Julie.
All right. So, let me, and I discussed this with you at this side of the bench as well. I received some edits from the defense to the questionnaire, which I will incorporate into the next version of the draft questionnaire. It's always a draft until the minute that I finalize it and send it to that pool of jurors. Speaking of that pool of jurors, somewhere on my desk, I have the updated numbers. Who knows what the yield will be, but I expect to take about 70, if I can, 60 to 70 jurors a day. In my experience, it's hard with the questionnaire, even without doing all the copying, to get through more than that number in a day. And there are other cases that are starting on Tuesday. And so if we can accommodate those, we will. We'll have to see what the draw is. The expected number is 105 now for Monday, and we're going to hold those over to Tuesday because, as you know, we're doing the final trial conference on Monday, and then we'll start the empanelment on Tuesday. So it looks like 105, 126, 121, 68 on Thursday, but those people will be pushed and held over till Friday. So we'll have a full group of some number of people to work with in getting a jury next week. And then jurors are here also on Monday and Tuesday of the following week. And I think we're the only game in town. That is, I don't think anybody else is paneling on Monday and Tuesday. Our intent is, if we get a jury during that allotted time, we will start the trial, the substance of the trial, on 12/1, the Monday after the Thanksgiving holiday. Everybody on board with that schedule? All right, good. Let me next address, and then once I do this, I'll certainly turn it over to you. We're going to have our formal, really today's purpose was to address the competency, but to the extent that I could pick off issues that aren't technically motions in limine, but other important motions to the parties, I focused on those today. And I am prepared now to make a ruling on the change of venue paper. That's paper number 219, and I'm going to read that into the record now.
Okay, well, just to catch everybody up in case you didn't hear, he is competent to stand trial, which means that jury selection is going to begin next week on Tuesday. And she intends on starting the actual trial on December 1st. So that's what it looks like we are going to be doing with Brian Walsh. Looks like the actual trial is not going to start till December 1st. What happens if they quickly pick a jury next week and they have a full jury? Maybe things can change. But that's what she is foreseeing right now. All right, now she's going to make some rulings on motion in limine. The first one is with respect to a change of venue request.
Mr. Walsh has moved for a change of venue on the grounds of extensive and prejudicial pretrial publicity that he asserts has tainted the jury pool so as to deprive him of his right to a fair trial by impartial jury. Alternatively, the defendant seeks an order that prospective jurors be selected from outside of Norfolk County. In support of his motion, the defendant has submitted evidence of extensive national and local media coverage of the case, beginning on January 6, 2023, after Anna Walshe was reported missing, and continuing till the present day, as well as evidence of social media engagement with this case. After careful consideration of the defendant's motion and the exhibits provided to the court, I'm denying the motion and the request for alternate relief for the following reasons. The court may order a change of venue where there exists, quote, and it exists in the community where there is a prosecution is pending so great a prejudice against the defendant that he may not there obtain a fair and impartial trial. And that cites back to Massachusetts Rule of Criminal Procedure 37 and Commonwealth versus Clark 432 Mass 1 at 6, a 2000 case. A judge has substantial discretion to transfer a case to another county based on pretrial publicity. And according to Commonwealth versus Gaynor 443 Mass at 245 at 259, pretrial publicity, even even pervasive adverse publicity does not inevitably lead to an unfair trial. A change in the place of a trial should be ordered with caution and only after the defendant has established, based on a, quote, solid foundation of fact, that the pretrial publicity has created presumptive prejudice. And to that I cite to Commonwealth versus Hart, 493 Mass 130 at 141, and Commonwealth versus Tulin, 460 Mass at 452, at pinpoint site 462, 463, a 2011 case. Presumptive prejudice exists only in truly extraordinary circumstances where the trial atmosphere is utterly corrupted by media coverage. And, quote, the entire venire may be presumed prejudice regardless of specific voir dire procedures utilized. This standard is only met if the publicity is both extensive and sensational. And to that I cite to Commonwealth versus Who's, 467 Mass 395, 406, a 2014 case. In assessing whether pretrial publicity precludes a fair trial, the court should consider additional factors such as, quote, the size of the community, the length of time between the peak media coverage and the date of the trial, and whether the news stories contained a confession or smoking gun rather than merely being unkind portrayals of the defendant, end quote. Commonwealth versus Garhut-Strider, 82 Mass Appellate Court 500, 506, a 2012 case. The defendant here contends that transfer of his case out of Norfolk County for trial is necessary because the nature and extent of the negative pretrial publicity his case has received has encouraged a bias and prejudice against him in this county. Having reviewed the numerous materials submitted in support of the defendant's motion, I conclude that presumptive prejudice has not been shown. Although the media coverage has been extensive and somewhat graphic due to the nature of the crimes charged, it has also been primarily factual, describing the events in question, the charges against the defendant, court proceedings in this case, and the defendant's criminal history. Quote, fact-based publicity, even that which contains references to charges pending against the defendant or a prior criminal record, is not the sort of sensational publicity that would give rise to a presumption of prejudice, end quote. And that's Who's at 467 Mass at 407. The publicity in this case peaked in January 2023 when the defendant was charged in connection with the victim's murder, and has decreased in frequency over time, undermining a presumption of prejudice. Again, Who's at 406 and Tulin at 460 Mass at 465. Notably, nothing in the defendant's submission addresses whether the pretrial publicity has been more extensive in Norfolk County or the likely number of potential jurors who were actually exposed to the media coverage. Moreover, other factors weigh against a finding of presumptive prejudice. The trial is scheduled to take place nearly 3 years after Anna Walshe was presumed dead, and therefore there has been a substantial amount of time between the initial media coverage and the selection of the jury. Indeed, much more of the recent media coverage is focused on court decisions leading up to trial and the status of the case. Further, the defendant has not shown that there has been any report of a confession by him or any like evidence. See Gerhardt Writer, 82 Mass App Court at 506. And unlike other cases where the small size of the community weighed in favor of a finding of presumptive prejudice, for example, in Nantucket County, given the size of Norfolk County, the defendant has not shown a high likelihood that the entire jury pool would be tainted by the pretrial coverage of this case. To that, the court cites to Commonwealth versus Leahy, 445 Mass, 481 at 493, 494, a 2005 case. Defendant's motion relies heavily on evidence of negative social media posts presuming his guilt. There is, however, no indication that any of the posts were made by or read by Norfolk County residents, and thus they do not present a compelling reason to transfer his case to another county. In sum, while the defendant has demonstrated that the national and local media have extensively covered his case, he has not demonstrated the, quote, type of emotionally charged, inflammatory, sensationalistic coverage needed to support a presumption of prejudice, end quote. United States versus Angulo, 897 F. 2nd, 1169, 1181, a First Circuit case from 1990. Nor has he shown that there exists in this community a prejudice so great that he cannot obtain a fair trial in Norfolk County. Thus, I will not now order a change of venue. Alternately, the defendant has requested that prospective jurors be seated from outside of Norfolk County and transported to Norfolk County Superior Court for trial. Quote, such an order ought not be given lightly. Commonwealth versus Aldopoulos at 390 Mass, 438, 448, 1983. The defendant must, quote unquote, fully establish the reason why a foreign jury is, quote, necessary to further the administration of justice. The defendant's motion falls short here. The defendant has not specified in his motion why he cannot obtain a fair trial with jurors from Norfolk County. He has not, for instance, shown that the media or social media coverage has been more widely viewed by prospective Norfolk County jurors as opposed to residents of other counties. That engagement with social media postings about his case has been higher by residents in this county, or particularized his evidentiary support to the residents of Norfolk County in any way. Merely explaining the widespread coverage of this case in the greater Boston area and providing examples of negative social media posts from unknown users is insufficient to establish the necessity of a foreign jury. Any concerns as to the impartiality of prospective jurors from this county due to pretrial publicity will be addressed by this court with careful and thorough voir dire and is always subject to reconsideration by this court. Accordingly, the defendant's motion for a change of venue or alternate relief is denied without prejudice. The defendant may renew his motion and the court won't hesitate to re-examine its own decision should the impalement of an impartial jury prove impossible as a result of community prejudice. So There's one other matter that I want to address with the lawyers, and that will take place at the side of the bench. But before I do that, are there other matters that it's important for the parties to raise today, recognizing that we are going to have the final trial conference on Monday? Bless you.
One quick one, Your Honor, was I know that Mr. Tipton had a hearing on 12/9, and I didn't know if the court was going to break for that at 2 o'clock.
Oh,
I was going to ask this sidebar to talk about that briefly.
all
I
right.
apologize.
Anything else?
So that's it.
All right. Anything from the defense other than what we're going to discuss at the side of the bench?
No, and the only other thing is I just want the record to reflect that we object to the court's ruling.
Certainly will. I understand. All right. I'll see you at the side of the bench.
All right, go to sidebar. So she denied the change of venue. Yeah, so it looks like what they're going to do is devote next week to jury selection, and then the following week, if necessary, and if not necessary, they're just going to start December 1st anyway, because that's Thanksgiving that weekend. So, gonna have to wait a little bit longer for the real trial to begin. All right, what did I miss? Oh, nothing. Okay. Still at the sidebar. Trial trying to remind you, if you haven't hit the like button, now's a great time to do so, and also hit the subscribe button. We're almost by 46,000, so let's just get there. Let's see if we hit 46,000 yet. Shall we? Nope. 45,990. So 10 of you just have to hit the subscribe button, and then we'll get to 46,000. And then we can celebrate. We can do a little dance. If you want to see, I can break out my dance moves, which I know you guys want to see, and I'm not going to do it before 46,000, that's for sure. And we're not going to talk about the dancing competitions that I've been involved in quite yet. You guys, I don't know if we're close enough for me to divulge all that information to you and show you the videos. All I'll say is that I used to be quite the break dancer. I will say that Solomon's got some real good moves. I've seen him on the dance floor, just telling you. But we're not going to do it before 46,000 for sure. All right, well, we got another 2. We're getting close. Just 8 away. Avon Birdley says, if you're going to watch the trial, why not join? It's an enjoyable experience. I take home. Hello from upstate New York, sunny day here. I'm here also. I don't know what they're discussing at the sidebar, but they're probably discussing logistics of the jury selection, perhaps, or other personal matters, or scheduling. Sidebars are fun, by the way. Always get a few good lines in when I'm at sidebar. All right, now we're 7 away from 46,000. We're almost there. Conmit says, hey, it's 3 a.m. in Brisbane, Australia. And instead of going to sleep, you get to hear the static. Oh, looks like they're done.
All right. So Madam Clerk reminds me we're on for 9 a.m. on Monday. If there's anything you need between now and then, you get it to Madam Clerk. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you at that time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, so
To Monday, November 17th at 9 a.m. Thanks, everyone.
all right, everybody. Well, next hearing is 9 a.m. for the final pretrial conference on this Monday. Maybe going over some other motions. So we'll probably see you right back here 9 a.m. Monday to see the rest of the motions and limine hearing, most likely. And then they're gonna go to jury selection the next day. So that's what we have coming up with the Brian Walsh. Things are finally moving, and it looks like we're going to be heading for December 1st trial day. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining. That's the news on Brian Walsh today. He is competent. There will be no change of venue. And now, next thing we have to look forward to is this Monday, 9 a.m. We will see you all then. Have a great day, everybody, and a great weekend. Sorry, no dance moves because we didn't hit 46,000. So maybe it'll be next stream. Don't miss it. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody.